Hello everybody, I hope you guys are all enjoying your day. Today we're going to be looking at your weekly forecast, which is going to be spanning from the 19th, which would be today, all the way until the 26th, which would be next Sunday. And we do these on an every Sunday basis, so make sure you are subscribed and turned on notifications so you never miss when I do these. Now, I am going to be going over your temperature and precipitation anomalies, which is going to give you a pretty good outlook on what your week is going to be looking like averaged out. And I'm also going to be looking at our special event segment of the video later on in the video, where you could be looking at where your storm systems are going to track through, and then also where you're going to be seeing those warm or cold blasts of air coming into the United States. Now, we are going to start off here with your temperature anomaly forecast, and we're starting off with your above average layer. Now, here's your slightly above average, and we have two areas. We'll start from the western United States and then go to the east. We have parts of the Rockies, as well as parts of the Pacific Northwest and the Pacific Southwest, all seeing those slightly above average conditions, as well as parts of the South Central and Central United States. All of these areas will be seeing some slightly above average conditions, as well as parts of the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, as well as the Great Lakes, where you could be also experiencing some slightly above average conditions. Now, for the eastern and parts of the Central United States, you'll be seeing that cold air earlier on in the week, and then as we get later on in the week, it's going to turn much warmer. Even those areas that are currently experiencing a cold Arctic blast over parts of the Midwest and northern plains, you're going to be experiencing 10 to 20 degrees above average later on in the week, believe it or not. So it's going to be very warm over much of the United States coming later in this week. But it is going to be also cold early on in the week. So that might average out. You might average you out to right around average. And also for the southeast, you'll be seeing some cooler conditions kind of persisting and being a little bit more long lasting over these areas. The warm air isn't going to get to these areas, and especially the Gulf states, believe it or not, are going to be probably the coolest out of all of these areas, but they are going to average out to right around average here. Now we are going to add your next layer, your moderately above average layer, and that's going to be over parts of the Pacific Northwest, as well as Pacific Southwest, and into parts of the Western Rockies. All of these areas seeing some moderately above average conditions, where it is going to be a bit more noticeable, and pretty much the entire week you will be above average in these areas. I would even put a well above average, but for these areas it's going to be a consistent 5 to 10 degrees above average, not a consistent 10 to 20 degrees above average. So that's why you're only under a moderately above average region instead of a well above average region. Now, we are going to get into precipitation anomaly forecast here, and we are going to start off with your below average region. Now, this is going to show you where you're seeing your drier and wetter than normal conditions. So, in this slightly below average condition, this light brown, you're going to be seeing temperature or precipitation amounts close to a tenth of an inch to half an inch in the form of precipitation, because it is going to be a very dry week over much of the United States. You will have this one system that I did actually make a video on yesterday, or the 18th, depending on when you're watching this video, and I did talk about kind of the storm track that the models are taking right now, and it is going to fluctuate a lot between now and next week when this system, or later on this week when this system is going to be occurring. So it is going to be a bit bigger of a difference in when this and the storm track, and that'll definitely change where this happens, where this below average goes. Now, if this storm track tracks a little bit further to the north, this below average over these areas might actually not even be here, and if it tracks a little bit more to the south, you might actually get a bit of above average in these regions. So definitely going to create a big difference on where this storm tracks, because that's really what's driving your precipitation anomalies this week. It's that one system, because you have a very dry pattern setting up over the United States. Now, here is your moderately below average here, and this is going to be over parts of the southwest and into parts of the eastern Rockies and into parts of the central and northern plains, where you could be experiencing very dry conditions, where you might not even see a drop of precipitation this entire week over some of these areas, and it'll just be very brutally dry. And I feel like parts of the southwest, you'll get in on some of this precipitation a little bit more than these areas, because The southwest, you'll have a couple days where you see a little bit of rain showers, but that's pretty much it. These areas into the northern plains, they'll see close to no precipitation. And some areas, a pretty good swath of areas, will see no precipitation at all this entire week. So it's going to be very dry over these areas. Now, we are going to add our first and only layer of above average here in this latest screen. This is your slightly above average layer, and this is going to be over parts of the northwest as well as parts of the south central and Gulf states. And this is going to be just because you do have that system coming in. You're going to have this stream of moisture into the Pacific Northwest. That's going to be putting all that moisture into the Pacific Northwest in the form of rain and snow showers, depending on your elevation. And that is going to be why you have those above average conditions over the Northwest. And you could be picking up 2 to 3 inches of precipitation in those higher elevations where you have increased lift. You could be seeing closer to 5 to 6 inches in the form of precipitation, or closer to 3 to 4 feet of snowfall over those areas. Now, as you get into the south central United States and the southeast, where you have this above average, this is going to be more due to this storm system that's going to track through, and you could have some heavier bands of precipitation kind of set up over these areas that could lead to some isolated, well above average regions. So it depends really how the system develops, and we will get more into that on the special event segment of the video, which is coming up right now. Now, our first special event, this is going to be spanning from today all the way until tomorrow. So this is an event that has been happening over the past couple days, and we haven't gotten to talk about it because of Winter Storm Jacob, and then also because our weekly forecast only goes out on Sunday. So we're really only getting to talk about this today here. So you have a cold blast, this Arctic air that is coming down out of Western Canada, where it has been locked up for the past month or two, is finally retreating into parts of the Midwest and the Great Lakes, and all that cold Arctic air is being slowly pushed south into parts of the eastern and central United States, and really the Great Lakes region, as well as the Midwest, seeing these colder temperatures, and wind chills will be down to about -40 to -50 in some areas. So very, very cold conditions over these areas, and a widespread -10-degree wind chill, and a lot of the areas getting well below that in terms of wind chills. And again, this is going on from today all the way until tomorrow. Now, here's your next and last special event here for this week. Your next storm system. So pretty much everywhere highlighted in this pink is where where you have a chance at least, or the greatest chance of being impacted by this system. Now, this will be a large system that'll be very elongated vertically. So it's not gonna be a very wide system. It doesn't look, but it's gonna be a very tall system. So it's gonna be reaching from the Gulf Coast all the way up until the Great Lakes at some points within the storm. So it's gonna be a very vertically elongated system. So it's going to be a very thin, but definitely a very tall system here. And this could bring a little bit of snowfall to the northern United States, potentially some severe weather for the southern United States, although that does look a little bit unlikely because we're almost getting into February here, so severe weather is pretty much going to be on a minimum here for the next month or so. Now, this system is going to originate right off the shore of Baja California. Its energy is going to move out into parts of the southwest, and then it's going to take some sort of track, whether that be a little bit further to the north, a little bit further to the south. That's what we have to figure out here, and I did make a video on this yesterday, so you can go check that out. It's going to kind of meet up with this energy out of the northwest from this stream of moisture that is going to break off, move into the Rockies as well. When this system is moving on, they're going to kind of meet up together, going to form a little bit of a larger system here as it gets over the Ozarks and central United States, and then it's going to continue to move out into the Northeast and Great Lakes. So that's how the system is going to play out. I will have definitely multiple videos, probably 1 or 2 more on this system. As we get nearer to this system, I'll definitely have a little bit more in the way of updates on this system, because it does look to be definitely climactic over parts of the northern United States. The central United States really looks to get hit by the system so far. But again, we are still about 4 days, 6 days out, 3 to 6 days out from this event, so it is very far out, and we can't really make too many conclusions. That's why I made a general map of where you could be impacted, and definitely this map will change. I'll definitely have to update this map because the storm track is definitely going to change north or south or east or west depending on where the storm does actually track. Now that is going to wrap up the video. Please consider liking the video, subscribing, and turning on notifications so you never miss a video when I upload. Anyways guys, that was Eli Weather Guy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.